Welcome to SCW Live here on YouTube.com. Thank you for choosing the channel and choosing the video. Please subscribe as always. It is Q&A time, so get ready to get your questions in. But we're going to start off with talking about AEW Blood and Guts. So get ready to talk about predictions for that, and then we're going to throw it over to you guys to get your questions in. But before we do, as always, let's kick in with the intro. So without further ado then, let's get our special guest in this week then for the live Q&A. It is none other than Mekz from WrestleManiac UK. Mekz, how you doing, my friend? Welcome to the channel.
I'm very good. Thank you very much for having me. Looking forward to all the juicy questions. I'm usually here watching and seeing you and whomsoever answer the juicy questions, so I need those questions today.
Absolutely indeed. So you know what to do then, everybody. Get your questions in the comments section. We will be talking about it. We'll be answering everything, giving you a shout out as well on this particular video. But before we do, first off, Mekz, can you just tell us a bit about your YouTube channel just to kick off?
Yeah, so I started my YouTube channel in June last year, started the whole venture of the wrestling journalism, if you like, in about March or so, just before WrestleMania last year. And all it was really was to meet people like yourself and other wrestling fans, especially in the UK, because I just feel like we're so far apart at times. And it's like, you might enjoy this, but you have no one else to talk to about what happened with. So been amazing, you know, the past year kind of making this little community as we have and reaching out and being able to just talk good old wrestling.
Absolutely, man. I feel you 100%. I mean, it's a very similar story for me. I've been going for a long time on this, but I took a long break. And then I did the Q&As that I did literally once a week and just would drop an odd video here and there, usually around pay-per-view time. But like you say, since the pandemic hit, it's just gone skyrocket, a lot more involved. And like you say, interaction and being able to talk to people, because I'm the same. I don't really have as many people to talk about wrestling with. So it's great to have those people. And yeah, I mean, you talk about WWE, AEW as well, don't you? Give usually reviews on a weekly basis?
Yeah, so I do the reviews on every show. Raw is an absolute slog right now, as you can imagine, but we're still going. I have the Elite Maniac podcast, which I do with a friend of mine, which is an AEW exclusive podcast. And then as well, I recently joined the Kick Out team, so do the Kick Out podcast as well, which is again another review of everything kind of going on. So trying to cover all bases like yourself. So yeah.
Absolutely indeed. And the Kick Out podcast as well. You've had some special guests on there recently. I think Jeff Jarrett was one very recently.
Yeah, we had Jeff Jarrett last week or 2 weeks ago. He's promoting a brand new podcast of his, it came out on the 4th, yesterday, I think it was. And we had Bianca Belair just before WrestleMania. So yeah, we've getting to speak to some really big names, which is always cool. So yeah.
Absolutely indeed, man. That's absolutely incredible. And I do encourage anybody that's watching this video, watching this live stream, to go and check out Meksz's channel, WrestleManiac UK, and also Kick It Out podcast as well. Two fantastic channels, consistent, great content as well. I always enjoy it. It's very informative as well. So yeah, I always enjoy listening to your points of view. Always a very good detailed discussion as well. So just before we head on to talk about AEW Blood and Guts, which we're going to do in a little bit, give our predictions for the show. We've got a few comments already kicking in. So we've got Jamie Holmes there. He said, had it as a guest. I was already in with a question. That's not taking him too long there. But he says, who do you think will be the one to take the Impact World title from Kenny Omega? Let's do that now then, shall we, Mekz? Who do you feel is going to be the one?
So I've got a little fantasy booking in my head, which everyone is going to have a go. The Sami Callahans, maybe Moose, Rich Swann. But Impact need to rehire Samoa Joe to go and get that belt from Kenny Omega. I haven't been really impressed with the Forbidden Door stuff right now. I think it's a bit one way, hasn't really been, made the most of it. But I think this could really kick it off if a big name like Samoa Joe, previously worked at Impact, is sent over there to go and get his hands dirty a bit with Kenny Omega.
Absolutely. I think that would be incredible if that was to happen. Imagine if Slammiversary kicks along and, Kenny Omega's retained the championship. And then there's that idea of like, well, who is there in this Impact roster? You've sent your best already because they've got Under Siege, they've got Against All Odds. And then Samoa Joe's music hits the old TNA theme. And then you've set yourself for Bound for Glory. It's a great magical book in itself there. I really love that idea, Mekz. It's absolutely superb. And I really think that that's going to be the idea as well, because it's hard to see who on that roster right now can actually take it off of Kenny Omega. He's almost been treated like he is a level above that roster. So it feels it needs that outsider to come in. The only one I could see potentially, which the heel versus heel dynamic, I'm not so sure. But W. Morrissey, of course, formerly Big Cass from WWE's recently debuted there. He looks like a monster. That he's been portrayed as well, bitter as well. Got he just looks more jacked. His look, doesn't he? Looks a lot more fresher. Looks more, So perhaps he could be the one. But I like your idea of Samoa Joe because it just feels like it's defending the history as well of Impact Wrestling, the TNA history as well. So yeah, I absolutely love that idea there. I think it's fantastic. Jonesy is with us in house. He says that hopes we are both well. Hope you as well, Jonesy. Of course, he's done himself as well a live Q&A this evening as well, which I recommend everyone goes and checks out a bit later on after we finished here. Martin Career as well, asking how we're doing. We're doing very well. Thank you very much as well. It's good to have you on board. Martin. So, and we've got Wrestling by Waldridge as well. Good evening, lads. Looking forward to Blood and Guts tonight. Do you think there could be a star-making performance for lads such as Sammy Guevara and Sean Spears? What are your thoughts on that before we get into the AEW predictions?
I think Sammy Guevara, definitely. If there's any kind of crazy spot we're going to see on the night, I guess that's the guy that's going to deliver it for us in that match. Sean Spears, definitely, potentially. I do think he's got a lot to prove. I've said before on my shows that Sean Spears is a really lucky boy. This is, his kind of third crack at the whip at AEW. They've done some other things with him in the past. Hasn't really stuck. No one's really cared. Being put in Pinnacle now is probably last chance saloon to see if he can really get over, make his mark. So those are two kind of really good people to bring out and pinpoint. Sammy Guevara with probably the high spot of the night, wherever that's going to be. And Sean Spears definitely can give us something memorable. So yeah, I think possibly they can be star-making performances.
Absolutely, indeed. I think you make good points there, indeed. Then Sammy Guevara in particular, I'm sure he said he was going to start this match for the Inner Circle as well. Yeah. So that means he's going to go through the gauntlet. So he definitely will probably go through the most punishment if there's not a star-making performance in there. I don't know what would be with that sort of environment there. Of course, like you say, they're doing something hardcore, crazy spot, starting the match as well, going through the most. I really hope so, and I hope for Spears as well. Like you said, he's had probably a tough time for someone that's left WWE. Had a lot of promise, thinking that he would do something outside of the company. People have not really cared up to this point. So yeah, I mean, it's a very interesting point that you make there, and I really like that and agree with those. And I want to see Proud and Powerful do really well in this match as well, because they're a great tag team. Again, I mean, they've kind of not done as well as maybe we could have expected at this point, but let's see what goes down. And just before then we go to the predictions, just want to say that Jeff Samuel in the house, he says that he loves the idea of Samoa Joe taking the belt off Omega, and we know Samoa Joe is going to eat Omega on the promo alive. Yeah, great comment. Absolutely great comment. And great to have Jeff in the house. So without further ado, let's go straight then to what we're going to do. We're going to do our Blood and Guts predictions for the next few minutes. So let us know your predictions in the comments below. Of course, if you're not familiarized with the matches, then don't worry. We've got you covered here on SCW. Just very quickly, going to take that comment away. And then without further ado, here we go. Let's see what the matches we've got tonight. Coming up tonight on AEW Blood and Guts, we have the following matches. Dr. Britt Baker, DMD, will be in singles action. There is a 4-way eliminator tag team match. The winner gets a future AEW Tag Team Championship opportunity. We've got SCU, we've got Jungle Express, Varsity Blondes, and the Acclaimed. We've also got the tag team extravaganza of Kenny Omega and Michael Nakazawa, with Don Callis in their corner taking on Jon Moxley and Eddie Kingston. We've got Cody Rhodes with Arn Anderson versus QT Marshall with The Factory. And last but not least, we've got the first ever Blood and Guts match, the Inner Circle taking on the Pinnacle. Who wins? Let's discuss now here on SCW Live. It looks like a stacked card tonight. I'm really looking forward to it. Are you excited with that card?
I am. At first, I don't know if you caught this. They said that Blood and Guts a couple of weeks ago was going to be a one-match card. I don't know if you caught that. And then last week is when they started adding matches to it, which fair enough. And the matches, they've added kind of fit in with the Blood and Guts theme, and to a certain extent, Cody and QT's bit of a blood feud at this point. The Kenny Omega and Moxley and Kingston thing kind of goes on, and the only thing for me is the SCU tag team match. Didn't SCU say they're number one contenders? Why are they now in the tag eliminator thing?
Yeah, I know that thing is a bit strange. We'll talk about that match first, I think. But like you say, there they kind of almost switched things around the wrong way, because last week they said that if a long time ago, if they lost, they'd break up as a tag team. Yep. Then they started kind of like this feud with the Young Bucks last week, and now they've got to go through a number one contenders match. Which, if they break up, then they can't go for the belts. But they've started the story. It feels like they've done these 2 weeks around the wrong way. Almost, they could have done this match last week and started the story this week. But it feels clear to me that SU will be the ones that be going over in this match. I can't see any other way, because that if they're going to break up, I mean, the SU, the Addiction, whatever you want, Daniels Kazarian, they have a lot of history together. If you're going to break them up, it's got to be done on pay-per-view at Double or Nothing, in my opinion. I don't know if you agree.
I agree. It's got to be done in a big way. It's not going to be done in just a throwaway tag team eliminator match. So that's why I didn't really understand. It came out and made the whole hoo-ha about they're the number one contenders, but now you're putting them into a match to become number one contenders. So yeah, it doesn't really make sense. But hey, rankings, they haven't really made sense. Full stop. So yeah, like you said, SCU should definitely be the team that win this match and move on to the Young Bucks, and Young Bucks put them to the sword, put the sword straight through SCU and end that tag team.
Yeah, I would have think so indeed. There we've got comments coming for SCW for voiceover. Yes, I'm on a budget, sadly. So yeah, I did my own work there. But
done a fantastic job. Don't mind.
I appreciate that. had to be done. With Dr. Britt Baker, I'm assuming she's going to win. It's a singles match. She's not really been promoted against an opponent. She's obviously number one contender for the AEW Women's Championship. I almost said the Knockouts Championship there, but it looks like that hopefully we'll get the direction for that for Double or Nothing tonight with her and Shida.
Yeah, this is just warming us up for the Britt Baker takeover, which is going to happen by the end of the month. Yeah, she's been brilliant. She's obviously got her wins up using dark elevation, which is a sneak tactic, really and truly, facing enhancement talent and stuff. But she spotted the loophole, I guess, and has got her wins under her belt. And she's probably, like you said, going to face some type of enhancement talent on Dynamite. So yeah, another win for her, and looking good going into the Double or Nothing match, probably with Shida.
Absolutely, indeed. I would agree with that wholeheartedly. And elsewhere in the card as well, we've got Cody Rhodes against QT Marshall. This definitely feels like a bit of a blood feud going on at the minute. And I must admit, I'm quite liking the look of the factory. I feel that the way they've been put together, we've got three, complete young studs, if you want, and they've been given TV time. They would have been complete unknowns that would have been stuck on Dark and Elevation, which, in my opinion, I don't know about yourself, Mekz, I don't watch either. I just haven't got the time to keep up with those two shows. So, for me, it's great to see these guys now getting TV time, and hopefully they continue some good things here. I'm guessing they're going to perhaps some sort of multi-man match at Double or Nothing. So I'm going to go for a sneaky QT Marshall sneak victory. I think he escapes for something tonight. Do you agree?
It's very... I haven't given this a thought, because obviously QT and Cody had a match a couple of weeks ago, which is what made the factory kind of come together. And that match ended just in a DQ. There was no winner, if I'm correct. So yeah, I haven't really given a thought who's gonna win here, but I've been loving everything that QT has been doing recently. Now he's kind of got his own kind of guys under him, broken away from the whole Nightmare Factory and all the lights and fireworks of everything Cody does. I was laughing my head off last week when they went all the way to the top of that bus just for Cody to give a figure 4 leg lock. That is the typical spot that you're thinking, all right, someone's going off the top of this bus. A figure 4 leg lock for the win. So looking forward to this match, though. It's going to be really interesting to see who comes out on top.
It should be indeed, absolutely. And just quickly go to the comments very quickly. Noob and Co's in the house. Thanks, Noob, for checking this out. Hope you're doing well. Randy Sam here saying that QT Marshall wins and we get shenanigans. He expects as well. And also goes on to say that Anthony Ogogo is my guy. And what are you feeling with the knockout punch of Ogogo? It seems the boxing superstar coming to wrestling, quite a punch.
I'm very happy for Anthony Ogogo. He's been training a long time. I've since he signed for AEW, I've been kind of tracking how he's been doing and stuff like that. So I'm very happy to see him. But with the gut punch, I can't lie, I'm not sold on it because I just
No.
think, just logically, if someone punches you in the gut, yeah, you might
Mm.
be winded. You're gonna roll around, but you're not gonna be pinned because your shoulders won't be on the ground if you're rolling around. And it's
Yeah.
not really a knockout kind of move. If it was, a gut punch and then something else that then he knocks them out or something better. Like even the
Mm.
first time he done the gut punch, I was thinking what they could really do to sell this is the guy vomits or some fake
Yeah.
vomit or something. Yeah, it's the
Yeah.
guy throws up in the middle of the ring. Even a gut punch and the guy can't get up for a 10 count, I think would be really good because it's
Mm.
more than 3, can't get up for 10. But I don't know. There's something about it I'm not quite sold on, but obviously I get it. He's a boxer. But as his moveset, his repertoire kind of advances, that might change, and we might see something added to it. We'll see. But loving, a bit of good old British representation on
Yeah.
AEW.
Absolutely, yeah, it's great to see it, and I really like the idea of the 10 count because, like you say, it's not a technical knockout, is it? If hitting the stomach, so yeah, no, I like the 10 count idea. I think that certainly should be a method they should look into going forward. And Jones has given his predictions so far here, so he's got the Pinnacle, he's got them winning tonight. Britt Baker, Cody, he's got winning, and Moxley and Kingston going over. He reckons that actually Cody and QT will be a no contest. That's his prediction. So solid predictions there. I like the sound of it. I have to see how it's going to play out this evening. Just going to see quickly. Here we've got Wrestling by Waters there saying, with AEW playing another hour of television down the line, do you think Tony Khan will bring in Marlo Ronaldo perhaps in the solo role on commentary? How would you feel? Because Marlo was actually on Impact Wrestling. How would you feel if he was to come in?
I wouldn't mind it. Mauro Ronaldo is a fantastic commentator. Just instantly adds the drama that's needed for any big match. I'm not sure if he's in a place where he would want kind of a full-time position though, because obviously we saw him in NXT and main roster, and he went away for a period and came back again, if I'm correct. And ever since then, he has just kind of popped up, whether it's boxing, MMA, or wrestling. He has just popped up kind of sporadically. So maybe that's what suits him. I think with Mara in the past, there's been some issues regarding mental health and stuff like that. And yeah, you definitely don't want a high pressure situation under, I guess, well, there's nothing compared to having Vince shouting in your ear. So
No.
AEW, I'm sure, would be fine. But yeah, maybe he just prefers the kind of freelance kind of stuff. But happy to see him whenever he does turn up, wherever he turns up.
I agree with that. I think that if he wants to come in, he's welcome with open arms. Like you say, he's probably got perhaps less heat on him if Vince McMahon is not in his ear all the time with AEW. Yeah. I think it's a very welcoming sort of happy family it feels with those sort of people. Jim Ross, Tony Schiavone there on the commentary table. So yeah, I mean, with people like Big Show as well, learning his craft. I should say Paul White these days, shouldn't I? But it's easily done. But yeah, I mean, you see this. There's a lot of proving ground for AEW. So I'd love to see it if he wants to come in. We'll have to wait and see what happens down the line. But I've got another comment here as well from Martin Curran. It brings on to the next match here. He says that if Eddie Kingston will be the next challenger for Kenny Omega's world title. So obviously we've got the tag team match this evening, Kenny Omega and Michael Nakazawa against Kingston and Moxley. It's weird that Kingston and Moxley wanted this match to begin with and not an AEW championship match when they had any match they could have gone for.
Oh my God, tell me about it. I was shouting at the screen. Thinking,
Yeah.
Right. You've got this guy, the champion, where you want him. Don Callis has said, anything, take anything, just don't hurt him.
Yeah.
And you ask for a tag match against Kenny Omega and Michael Nakazawa. I said, yeah, this doesn't make any sense. I thought at least, give Kingston a world title, a world title match against Omega. But we are getting what we are getting. I don't know what their plan is for Kenny Omega and who his next challenger will be. I think it's a bit early to do the Hangman storyline. Maybe Rich Swann comes back and gets another go at the title to win it back. But this definitely should have been Eddie Kingston challenging for the world title. But we'll probably get a decent tag match out of it.
Absolutely, and I think there's no second guessing the baby faces are winning here.
Yeah. I think Nakazawa has been put into that match for one reason and one reason only, and that's to take the pin.
He's definitely taking the pin. And why they didn't go for another exploding barbed wire death match, I'll never know. I'd have loved to have seen the Sparklers again. Don't hate me, AEW fans, but it would have been great to have seen. But to be serious about it, though, I wonder if we could get the first, because I don't think we've ever had one. We had the discussion on this last week. I don't ever remember having a three-way or triple threat match in AEW history currently. Could you see Kingston, Moxley, Omega at Double or Nothing in the triple threat match?
Ooh, good idea. No, we haven't seen a triple threat match for the title. That could be good, but I'm not sure about the interest level of Moxley and Omega again. Despite the added element of Kingston being there, I'm just not particularly sure how that's gonna go down. And to be honest, we all spoke about Moxley being written off TV because Renee Paquette is expecting. Is that even still happening? She's still pregnant. That's still happening. Is Moxley going to be written off TV at any point?
It does seem like it now, does it? If anything, I thought that Mox and Kingston would have been going for the tag titles, but I mean, if SCU's got that spot now, it feels that this one's probably going to wait till maybe even All Out at this point. I don't know what they're going to do, but they've got Beach Break as well, and Fighter Fest and Fight for the Fallen stuff in the summer, so they've probably got other opportunities to go down that avenue. But I'm a bit confused as well where they're going to go with it, but certainly it'll be interesting. And one thing's for sure, like you say, Nakazawa is taking the pinfall tonight. There's no questions with that. And Jonesy has also said that Kingston will no way beat Omega, but the dueling promos would be amazing. I do agree. I mean, Kingston is absolutely electric on the mic. I really do enjoy that. And that takes us to the main event then. Obviously, we've got the Blood and Guts match then. We've already said there, we expect perhaps star-making performances from Sammy Guevara, potentially as well there from Sean Spears, potentially if he's given the opportunity. But I think the big question here is we know the heels have got the advantage going in to this match. I believe it's surrender or tap out, I believe is the ways that this ends. So how do we see this going down? Do we see that the baby faces will triumph, or do we see the Pinnacle overcoming here?
I think the Pinnacle have to win, don't they? They're the new team. That's the team that need establishing and all of that kind of stuff. MJF done a brilliant job putting over Chris Jericho and saying, you are the guy, AEW's basically been built on your shoulders sort of thing. And it's all lip service, which comes in very well when MJF maybe gets that final pin over Chris Jericho or makes Chris Jericho tap out or whatever the case is. And it's almost like he's taken the mantle for everything he said Chris Jericho is. So I think that's probably the story that they're telling. Looking forward to this match so much. Obviously, they've already removed the pin element to make it a bit different from the War Games matches we've seen in recent times in NXT. From the illustrations, it looks like rather than it being two cages like we're used to in NXT, it looks like it's like almost two cells with roofs. So, which I think is how the original War Games was.
Yeah, back to classic WCW style. This looks like we've got tonight, and really looking forward to how it's going to come out, because they also didn't have the pinfall element either. It was submission or surrender, and watching quite a few of the old classic fall brawls or classic Clash of the Champions from the 80s. You would usually have the classic always every year that the heels would start off, and then obviously the babyfaces would come in at the end, and then it'd be the surrender, whether it was Colonel Robert Parker or whoever was going to be submitting at the end there. But it certainly will be a lot of fun. And I really think that the Inner Circle need this victory more than the Pinnacle tonight. I think that they're the stable, although they've been around the longest. I feel that they kind of have lost momentum. I feel with MJF and Wardlow being in the group, the fact they've had to take the time with they're taking heavy beatings as well. I feel that they need the victory here tonight, but I'm not convinced that this rivalry ends at Blood and Guts, which I think is another interesting element. Do you see it actually going past here?
Yes, but probably not in a 5-on-5 fashion. Maybe that's when it will come down to MJF versus Chris Jericho or something like that. And I completely agree with you that Inner Circle, since they debuted, they definitely did get watered down within the last 6 months or so when MJF and Wardlow joined. And I bought an Inner Circle shirt. Like I loved them when they came on the scene, and when MJF was here, I was literally looking at my shirt sideways, like I need to throw that away. But I think I would love to see Inner Circle win 100%. That's who I'm going to be rooting for. But the way wrestling works, I guess the new guys are going to probably get the rub in this. New guys being the Pinnacle.
Absolutely, indeed, there, and I kind of feel the same with to give a prediction. I'm back and forth. I'm flipping a coin. I'll probably change my mind twice more before the show starts, but I'm going to go with you as a final prediction on this video. So hold me to it here. That's going to be my prediction as well. But the question here from Jones, you've had this up on the screen for a little while. Do you see that any one of the Inner Circle turning and joining the Pinnacle tonight? That would be an interesting twist, but I don't see it personally happening. What about you, Mekz?
Nah, I don't think there's anyone that could. And what position could that person play within the Pinnacle anyway? The Pinnacle are already stacked because yes, he's not a wrestler, but they've got Blanchard with them. So, they're already like what, 6 men compared to Inner Circle's 5 or whatever. To put another person there, I just think it'll be too much. It's not necessary. If anyone, Blanchard's gonna be the key person, might, put something in the ring for someone to use or something like that. So yeah. Tully's gonna play maybe an integral part tonight.
Yeah, I think so. I think he could do as well. Of course, he's got the experience of being in these matches before as well. I did wonder before with the rumors going on with Tessa Blanchard being in talks, but apparently that's off the table. I wonder if she would be joining her father in the Pinnacle, but it wouldn't seem fitting for this match really for her to come in and dominate. But she's been in intergender matches before. Yeah. Sami Callihan from Impact Wrestling, of course, being the Impact World Champion as well at one point for the whole company. So yeah, that's pretty much the predictions from us though. But we'll go through some of the comments that we've got here just before we close up and go to the full Q&A. So we've got Randy Samuel saying that Marlo Renal and Jim Ross on commentary together, that'd be a legendary team right there. I couldn't agree more. I think that yeah, two of my absolute favorites from old and present will be awesome.
Yeah, Jim Ross has kind of lost it. he is losing it, should I say politely. But obviously a complete legend. He's given us so many big calls, great moments and stuff like that. So definitely that is a Hall of Fame worthy commentary duo.
Absolutely, indeed. There, I would agree. And DWE, fun card of wrestling tonight. Nice to see WrestleManiac on the show. Yeah, it's great to have Mekz here as well. And yeah, I hope everyone's enjoying it so far. I know that we are indeed. Do we see debuts tonight on AEW? Andrade, maybe. I wonder if it would be too much tonight. How would you feel, Mekz, if we got a surprise?
Yeah, I don't know. Well, to be honest, no, it's not gonna happen because I think for those of us that try keeping the know, we've seen TNT have actually been against AEW doing these surprises. They gave AEW a lot of stick for just debuting Sting back in December without kind of building it up or saying that someone's going to appear on the show. That's why since then we've seen Paul White, Big Show be announced on social media. That's why they said, tune in to Revolution. Someone's going to come out, and that was Christian. And the same with they teased it when Ethan Page. They don't want these surprises. Although as wrestling fans, that's what we live for. Yeah, that's what they don't want. That they want everything to be kind of announced so everyone tunes in and they gain in terms of the network ratings and all of that kind of stuff. So unfortunately, yeah, with that logic, I don't think we're going to see any surprises.
No, it's a shame because, like you said there, when Sting came, I mean, of course, I know Sting's aging, but I mean, the big pop that he got on the night, the way that everyone reacted, it was such a big deal in being on TNT for the first time over 20 years. But yeah, TNT somehow had a bit of an issue with it. So yeah, I was a bit surprised with it as well. But I kind of agree. I feel tonight they don't need, in my opinion, Andrade tonight. If they're going to build for that mega championship match somewhere further down the line, I think it would be closer to when they want to actually make that official, that match. So I don't see it happening tonight. I think today it's purely based for AEW alone. I don't see anyone else coming in and doing anything on this particular show. But yeah, just see as we're going through some of the comments, DW asking the same question. And could we see a turn happening? We've covered that one already. We don't really think there'll be any turns happening this evening. But who would you have face Kenny at Double or Nothing? I mean, I suggested there earlier on the idea of Eddie Kingston and Moxley in a triple threat match. If you had to go with one name right now, or if you want to go for a multi-person match, who would you actually pick? If you were the booker right now, we had that pencil, Mekz, who would be the one?
Rich Swann. There has to be some type of AEW giving back to Impact on their show. I don't understand how Rich Swann has lost the Impact Championship. And yes, we saw Scott D'Amore do the whole, we're going to have some qualifiers to see who the number one contender is. But there should be absolute outrage that this guy put the belt on the line and it's gone to another company. People should be ripping Rich Swann's hair out of his head. You've lost our title. Like, now I need to go and get it. And there's a fight to who's going to get it. And Rich Swann, maybe that's what takes him back over to AEW. Look, I need that title back. Kenny put it on the line. Double or Nothing is one of their biggest pay-per-views. I think that is only fair in this whole crossover Forbidden Door stuff, even if he is gonna retain it, Kenny Omega, that is. I think Rich Swann deserves at least a rematch, to try and win it back.
Yeah, no, I completely agree with you. I've got Ray Tadara House who says that he doesn't think it would make sense to. But for me, I think it's the only thing you can do. They've got a chase to get that championship back or try and take their championship from them. I think that would make a lot of sense because, it's the way of getting your own back quickly, isn't it? And I think Impact, an Invasion would be awesome to see. Again, I don't think this night is the right night for it. But at the same time, could you imagine if no one won tonight because of the fact that literally Impact broke into blood and guts and just, tore into the whole roster? I don't see it happening. This is not Raw versus SmackDown, unfortunately, but still would be fun to see somewhere further down the line. But Georgia said that he thinks the Pinnacle should win, and one of the Inner Circle turning would create much heat with the continued feud. I would agree it would definitely bring a lot of heat if it was to happen, and certainly seeing the breakup of the Inner Circle when you've got big fans of them, it would be sad to see. But if one was to, who would be the one though? I mean, would Guevara? Yeah, would Guevara make the most sense? Because it would probably, he was the one that's always stuck by Chris Jericho, walked out of the group. Would he be the one? I couldn't see Hager doing it.
Nah, it would be Guevara because even with everything that's happened, a lot of people have even said in the background that, what if this whole thing is a ruse between Guevara and MJF and they link up together and, manage Pinnacle or whatever the case is. So yeah, it would be most likely Guevara, but I just don't see it happening at all.
No, absolutely not. But we have a few suggestions there and ideas. Even Jason Michael, they're giving his potential idea as well of how that could work also. But yeah, I mean, what we'll do is as well now, we're going to throw the questions open to everything now. So it's not just AEW. We've got some other questions from WWE. And I know Noob and Co has put in a couple of questions from WWE. So we're going to now open up to everything there. So that's the AEW stuff done. But we will still talk about Dynamite, of course, and Blood and Guts, because we've got quite a few comments in still with it right now. So we will continue to talk about it throughout the rest of the stream as well. But I rated us. It's a tough match to call. Does the Inner Circle need the win? Whether they go if they lose, Pinnacle is still a new faction. They could really lose a big match and quickly that would hurt them. So yeah, I mean, it's a tough situation of where to go with, but it looks like the Pinnacle seems to be the majority vote here with a lot of people potentially to go down. But let's get a WWE question in then from Noob and Co. Which 5 female superstars from Raw should be part of SmackDown's women's division? As Sasha, Bayley, Bianca Belair, the only singles competitors on SmackDown. Well, only ones that seem to get television time anyway. Mekz, if you could change people from Raw to SmackDown to join the women's division, who would you add?
SmackDown seems to care about their women's division just a bit more than Raw does. So I would immediately split up the tag team of Nia Jax and Shayna Baszler and send Shayna Baszler over to SmackDown. Who else? I mean, Charlotte will thrive wherever, so she can stay where she is. Maybe Asuka, just to split her up from Charlotte, because that's going to be a well that we're going to see them go back to several times in the next 12 months. Asuka and Charlotte, so maybe send Asuka over there as well. What about yourself? What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I like the idea of Asuka going over because of the fact that she spent so long as Raw Women's Champion. I think it would be good to freshen things up for her and her character if she was to be on a different show now. But I also, for me, Nikki Cross is one that I think I sing her praises every single video. And you'd think I was her favorite. She was my favorite wrestler. She's not. I just think she deserves more TV time and she's better than what she's getting. But I definitely would like to see her perhaps go over to SmackDown. I know we've seen matches with her and Bayley a lot last year, but just seeing her back on TV would feel fresh in its own way. So for me, I personally would like to see that.
Nikki Cross versus Asuka in NXT. Do you remember that?
Oh, yeah.
That was a street fight or something like that.
Yeah, I think they even did Last Man Standing as well.
Yeah, that's what it was. It was last Woman Standing. That's what it was. Yeah.
It was absolutely incredible. And to think that we just don't get those sort of matches on Raw and SmackDown, you think, why?
Absolutely.
Why? It doesn't make sense, especially when we look after NXT this week. That street fight was incredible. One of the best matches I've seen in NXT TV, honestly. Was absolutely amazing. We've got Wrestling by Waldridge here. Paul White reckons that he's still got a couple of matches in him. Who do you think would make good opponents for him?
Wow. I'd like him to put over the other kind of younger big guys. So like Will Hobbs, he could probably have a decent match with Will Hobbs. Obviously, he's got a lot of history with Christian, so that might be fun. there's an element of me, especially now seeing Shaq have that first match, that tag match. There is an element of me that does want to see Paul White versus Shaq. So I wouldn't mind that as a bit of a mainstream match, if you like. But yeah.
Yeah, I wouldn't mind seeing the Shaq match just for the publicity. I think it would work pretty well. Marco Stunt, because why not? That's the Marco Stunt's best matches. Just seeing him get annihilated.
That is the one. That is the one.
Yeah, why not? But yeah, Luchasaurus could come and make a defense for him as well. I mean, Luchasaurus is kind of like, I always look at him like Kane. He's like the modern, but he's like a green Kane, if you want. You know, I'd like to see that perhaps somewhere further down the line. So Tony Khan, if you're watching, book it. But yeah, I don't see that happening somehow. But yeah, Jonesy, this is another topic definitely wanted to talk about today. Where do we see Daniel Bryan going? Resign with WWE or going somewhere else? This is a big talking point that's come out today. Then, of course, rumors have been suggested Daniel Bryan's contract was running out in September. It's now reports coming out everywhere. Sean Ross Sapp and all sorts of places saying that it's now he's out of contract, and WWE want to re-sign him, and why wouldn't they? But Daniel Bryan has said in recent interviews that he wouldn't mind doing something completely alternative, even perhaps doing a part-time schedule, being a full-time dad. So the question is, Mekz, what do you first off want, and what do you think will happen?
I do want to see a Daniel Bryan world tour.
Oh, yes.
I definitely want to see that. I wouldn't mind. I think someone asked earlier about the Double or Nothing match for Kenny Omega. If they kept it like an open challenge and Bryan Danielson turned up and had a match with Kenny Omega, that would blow minds.
Yeah.
He doesn't have to win, of course. Daniel Bryan knows what he's here to do at this stage of his career, but that would be absolutely brilliant. Seeing Daniel Bryan in the G1 over in Japan as well, maybe getting a match somewhere on the Wrestle Kingdom card come next January, that would be absolutely brilliant as well. He's a Ring of Honor legend, so you know, using the rub, basically giving the rub to that company and trying to bring them up in some way, shape, or form, that would be great. And popping back into WWE every now and again and having kind of big marquee matches as well. Yeah, I don't want him to lock himself down to anyone at this current time. Let him live out his dream. He's already had the opportunity to come back and wrestle again, which he was never supposed to do. So let him go around and live out his days, man. The guy is just a fantastic guy. You can tell that this guy is just, he wouldn't hurt a fly. Like he's just a brilliant guy. And yeah, let him just fulfill his last dreams, are wrestling dream matches just before he calls it a day and really hangs up his boots.
Absolutely. I love that answer there. There's a few reasons of why I love that. First off, the World Tour. That sounds like a WCW video game from the 90s that I loved. Yeah, no, seriously. Yeah, the idea of a World Tour and going around to different companies. I mean, you mentioned Ring of Honor. Jonathan Gresham, one of the best pure technical wrestlers in the world.
Don't get me started.
That'd just be, it's mouthwatering. It just honestly would be incredible. Jay Lethal, New Japan, people like Offspray as well would be great to see. You said Kenny Omega there.
Jr. as well.
Oh, I mean, Jesus, like the matches just, they don't end it. Of course, in WWE, there's so many we haven't seen. Just put him in NXT, have a takeover match against Johnny Gargano. I know they've done it on the Indies, but I haven't seen it on a takeover. Like,
Pete Dunne
Pete Dunne, you know, it's just like, where do we sign? Like, do you know what I mean? Like that would just be incredible. So yeah,
we need an SCW petition of Daniel Bryan. This is where you need to go in this order by this date.
Absolutely. We'll get that list shortlisted. We'll throw it on Twitter and let's see how many retweets we can get after the show. I think that's what we're going to have to do. Yes. So yeah, keep an eye on the Twitter page after this. We'll throw something up. That'd be quite a lot of good fun. We'll go on to our next question. Alyssa Stansbury, thank you for your question. Thanks for checking out the video. Can't get to Seth Rollins' character. He needs to change a character style. Don't like Drip God. Not a fan of Seth Rollins' Messiah character. Well, I must admit, I've been embracing the vision with those loud suits. I must admit, but Mekz, what are you finding with Seth Rollins' character? Do you think it's working right now, or do you want to see him turn babyface at some point?
I just love his character, and I've been struggling to define it. And the closest I've got right now is just fashionista jerk. Like he's just into the fashion, he's into the drip, he's into the loud suits, but yeah, he is still being a bit of a mug. A jerk, literally. So yeah, I don't know what he thinks this character is. I'm enjoying it. The Messiah stuff I thought was good as well, but I think they took a couple of funny turns with it which didn't quite work out. Yeah, I think prime Seth Rollins was his 2015 run as champion.
Yeah.
And just before that, when he had the briefcase, I thought he was absolutely fantastic then. I
Mm.
don't ever think we will probably get back to that, because obviously, even as a person, he's developed and kicked on since then. Is there a space for a face turn somewhere? Maybe, but he doesn't seem to do it very well, or the crowd doesn't seem to buy into his face turns much. But yeah, I'm probably one of a few people really enjoying this current iteration of his character.
I don't mind it, to be honest. I don't hate it. I feel that he's having a lot of fun with what he's doing right now. That's what I would say. The only thing I've got a problem with Seth Rollins right now is his positioning on the card. I think he's better than where he is, but I love what he did with Cesaro at WrestleMania. I think that really helped. I think if hopefully he's going to put Cesaro over again this week on SmackDown, and after that, hopefully we can get Seth in the new program. But with the Messiah gimmick, yeah, I kind of lost the interest around eye for an eye. I mean, of course I would have wear glasses, but it's just, it is what it is, isn't it? But no, on a serious note, for me, that he needed a change when he come back at the Rumble. We've got to change.
Yeah.
I'm willing to give this time and see where it goes. But at some point, I would like to see Seth go face, and I would like to see Rollins versus Reigns one more time, because those two did have great chemistry when they faced before. And Reigns is too good as a heel. I can't have him as a face right now. No, the Ropes podcast are in the house as well with a popcorn there. I hope you guys are enjoying. Thanks for checking out the stream. Just to say, I know there's a lot of comments, by the way, so I'm trying to get to them as quick as we can. Don't worry, we will address them all. So stick around. Nothing to worry about. You will get a shout out during the video, so we will get to those comments. But Martin Carrero is here with our next one now, and he says, can we see the likes of Ace Austin or Trey Miguel becoming Impact World Champion this year, or is it not happening? Great question. Mekz, if you don't mind me taking this one first, because Ace Austin, weirdly enough, has been commenting a lot about the Impact World Championship, even when he was X Division champion recently. And he wasn't champion very long, but he's always had the ambition of becoming the world champion. I even saw a recent interview of him as well. I forget who it's with, unfortunately, so I can't give the shout out or the plug there. But what I would say is that he's destined and wants to be in that position. He's only 24, 25 years old. Time is on his side. I think he will be. I'm just not sure if it'll be this year. Trey Miguel, on the other hand, as well. I love the storyline did with Sami Callihan. I'm interested where they go next. The guy's clearly got passion, but it's just how Impact's going to book it. But I don't see either of them becoming world champion, taking off of Kenny Omega. That's one thing I would say. But Mekz, what are your thoughts with this question?
Yeah, I agree. Unfortunately, right now, Impact don't really have a world championship, so I don't see that happening, and they won't be the guys to beat Kenny Omega, I don't think. Trey Miguel's always interesting for me because he re-signed to Impact after him and the other rascals, MSK, their contract ended, and it's like, well, he never had a title in the couple of years that he was there. He's surely got to come back and win something now. Maybe start with the X Division rather than the World Championship, but yeah, as you know, those are two great candidates. Like you said, everything great about Ace Austin as well, and Ace Austin's working his butt off. I heard he still has a part-time job.
Really? Wow.
He's still working. He's not a full-time wrestler as of yet, so he's literally working his butt off to make things happen. So kudos to him. But
Absolutely.
yeah, two massive talents, which definitely will be World Championship caliber one day.
Absolutely, indeed, I agree with that, and yeah, definitely credit goes out to him to still doing two jobs and making this dream come a reality. I think that's fantastic. One other name I would throw out very quickly that I think would be a great candidate for world champion at some point, Josh Alexander. I'm a massive fan of his work. He really reminds me of Kurt Angle with his work in the ring. I think he's incredible. So I'd like to see that one day.
Yeah, I never really. Well, the North were a great tag team. And then when we saw Ethan Page, and I was more exposed to Ethan Page since coming to AEW, I never really saw much of him in a single capacity in Impact. I've never really bought into him. But Josh Alexander is even looking like he's taking it to another level now that he's on himself. So yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to what he does in the future.
Absolutely. As a team, I love them as a team. They're very innovative. You get a chance to watch some of the tag team matches. They're fantastic together. And of course, I mean, being the workhorse that Josh Alexander is, I mean, all ego. It was exactly that. Ethan Page was the mouth of the duo. And I hope they reunite one day. Possibly in AEW, maybe Impact. We'll have to wait and see. But Eric Travis, welcome to the live stream. What matches do you want to see at Double or Nothing? Your opinion, 6 matches. Mekz, I'll let you take this one.
Oh, I don't know if I've got 6 matches in me, but I will go for, in terms of a tag team match, I guess we're going to see the SCU and the Young Bucks, but I really want to see Proud and Powerful and Young Bucks. and then picking up those tag team titles. I think it's way overdue. Britt Baker versus Shida with Shida on dropping the titles. She's held the championship for about a year now. I think it's well overdue again for Britt Baker to become women's champion. So that should be interesting. I wouldn't mind Miro annihilating Darby Allin.
Yeah,
like
please.
Honestly, Darby Allin, he's racking up the wins of the defenses, but I think that they're positioning him that, you know, Darby can't die. No one can stop Darby. He'll always escape. He'll always find a way. And just have Miro run over him like a truck, like literally become TNT champion and a real strong dominant reign. Let's get Miro where he needs to be. So yeah, that's me. That's me giving 3 matches. What about you, Steve? Do you have any?
Well, I just finished ordering off Fight TV now, but you just said those 3 matches, so I'm already signed up for the pay-per-view. But to give 3 other matches off the top of my head, trying to think of the card. Well, I think MJF and Jericho in some sort of match. It can't be a singles match now. They need to have a stipulation match. I don't know if it's like maybe a loser leaves town match even for a period of time, so that MJF really does get the spot and Jericho has to maybe go commentary, can't wrestle for 3 to 6 months. That could be a fun twist. I would like to see. I mean, you mentioned there about the idea of seeing Proud and Powerful. I'd love Lucha Bros to get some sort of action in that as well. We need to get them on the card somewhere. But I think perhaps maybe the direction we'll get then is Death Triangle against the Best Friends. I'm guessing that as a 6-man tag probably be a likely direction. And as I said earlier, Kenny Omega needs to have somebody. I will go with Kingston and Moxley as a triple threat match. That would be my shout for it. So if you like that card, send it to Tony Khan and see if we get some royalties. We'd quite like them. So for DWE in the house as well, says that for him, Double or Nothing, it's the marquee matches. The show needs mainstream star facing Kenny. Hangman Page would be perfect, or we'd love maybe an established AEW star like Jungle Boy or Brian Cage. Jungle Boy is a great he's a great star. He's a great star in the making. You could argue maybe I think TNT would be more his level right now, but Brian Cage is interesting because Brian Cage, there feels like there's friction in Team Taz. Do you see a breakup happening?
I do think that maybe not a breakup of the entire faction, but I do think that Brian Cage, I like that story there, because even when Will Hobbs got added, I thought, well, you've got 2 big guys here now. Surely one's going to be stepping on the toes of others in terms of positioning within the group. So Brian Cage coming out and, you know, paying that respect to Sting after their match and stuff like that, I really thought, yeah, this is good. Gives Brian Cage a bit of a character, because, you know, he's just a machine and walks around with all these muscles and never seems to be able to find a t-shirt. Like, let's give this guy more of a character. Like, let him speak and really express himself. And I thought that's what they were doing. It's regressed in the last week or so, but Brian Cage breaking free from Team Taz, I think would definitely help him a long way. And he definitely should be someone up there in and around that main event spot going after the title. So, yeah.
Yeah, I'd quite like to see it. And one thing I always thought was, well, like you say, don't break the group completely. Taz has wanted to get an established star. He tried to get Christian Cage in there. If Joe doesn't come Impact, I'd like to see Joe as that replacement for Brian Cage in the group. I think that would make a lot of sense. And that could be quite exciting if that was to go down that way. But I like the thoughts that you've given there with Brian Cage. We need to give him something a bit more. We've got Jeff Samuel there, says that we make a good point. And can Santa Ortiz turn it on the inner circle just like Roderick Strong join the UE on Pete Dunne? I personally don't see it tonight, but would it be interesting to see them do that?
I don't think there's anything in it for them to do that. Like, why would they want to? I think the inner circle is what's keeping these guys on TV, because let's face it, they're not really being used as good as they are. So I don't think there's be anything in them splitting from inner circle. What they need is a real tag team push and be given a go at the championships.
Yeah, I agree with that wholeheartedly. Rated R, the women's tag titles need to switch hands ASAP. The entire women's division needs to be revamped. How would you guys change that division to make it better? Well, I'm guessing we're talking about the Raw and SmackDown side of things rather than NXT after last night, although NXT probably could use a couple more tag teams. But yeah, Raw and SmackDown, particularly Raw, it seems a mess right now. First off, I think the big question is, who should be the team to actually win the belts next?
That's the question, to be honest. They've given a lot of spotlight in recent weeks to Tamina and Natalia. maybe them.
Mm.
If failing them, the Riot Squad. This is a division. Even with, if you look at the names in NXT, the tag teams in NXT, this is a very kind of young division, and ultimately those tag belts are supposed to be the mid-card championship to help build up these women to become the single stars that one day they probably all dream of being. So let's give it to Liv Morgan, Ruby Riott, who, Ruby Riott is very established. She's been wrestling for a very long time. And let them take on a lot of these other teams and stuff. I don't want to see Lana and Naomi particularly as a tag team, but if they're going to keep them together to make Lana look more credible, then so be it. But just in terms of a little thing that they need to do is definitely move those championships to the tag teams. Mandy Rose, Dana Brooke could get it as well, but I would say the Riot Squad. And then, like I said earlier, split up Shayna Baszler and Nia Jax. Those two, no matter if you don't like Nia Jax, she's a singles wrestler. She fills the big person role in wrestling. How am I going to overcome Nia Jax? Like, those two should definitely be in the singles division.
Yeah, I wholeheartedly agree with that. I think it's time that you actually put Baszler and Jax back in the singles division. Really give that Raw Women's Championship an established push there, because with Asuka, Rhea Ripley, Charlotte Flair, Baszler, Jax, it works really well. And like you say, Jax, she's got the perfect personality for it. Yeah, she's not the best in ring, but the personality-wise, she really carries her own. People hate it. It's proper heel heat. So, I think that's the first thing. Get them out of the way. Get Reginald perhaps solely with Nia Jax. I do kind of like that dynamic. It's better than any other dynamic Reginald's had, maybe apart from Carmella. I mean, at the same time, I think then, like you say, really get the other tag teams involved and just try and make the best of it. Like you say, we've got a young established team like the Riot Squad, or certainly if Morgan's a young member of that team anyway, they can really make something of that division. But I think Natalya and Tamina are going to be the team to do it at the moment. I think there's a chance they could win them at the next pay-per-view. Otherwise, I don't know why we're still building this match, but it is WWE. I've seen rumors that the Bella Twins could be the ones at one point, but
that's who it needs to be. I mean, I was screaming for it at WrestleMania, like, just let them come out in gear and win it, because that's the only time they'll take this division seriously. And the Bellas won't let them fumble this title any longer, even if they're holding it just for 6 months or whatever the case is. I don't know what the Bella schedule is. That might be too long, in fact. But if the Bellas were the champions, they would take this division a whole lot more seriously.
Yeah, I wholeheartedly agree. I think that's where we should leave it. Bring the Bella Twins in, regardless of they're popular or not. This would be taken a lot more seriously. We've got Danny Barron for us next now. He says, who do you want to see beat Alexa Bliss's Lily doll? He had the suggestion that Paige is the doll. Hear me out. Alexa said Lily, like Red and Sonya Deville had on the Reds. I can't really get with the NDs. Apologies on that. But it says, remember that Paige's stable did turn on Alexa Bliss back in the day. So, so Paige has been the idea of Lily's doll anyway. I mean, if Paige could be cleared, I would be a fan of seeing her back in any capacity in WWE. But what are your thoughts with this Lily doll? Because for me, I'm not a fan of it.
Yeah, I'm not really behind it, to be honest. But what is this? Was there something said that Lily is an actual human being, like representing a human being?
Not presently. It's more the fact that Lily made me do it, and it's just this doll. And this past week on Raw, Lily was. I think what was mentioned with Sonya Deville is that Sonya was having a promo, and then this Lily was in the background somewhere. And there was another segment as well, which I can't remember who was in the other segment. But I really hope it's not Sonya Deville that the target is going to be for Alexa Bliss. But I mean. The only way this works with Lily as the doll, in my opinion, is if there's a form of mind control. Bray started this with Alexa in this kind of gimmick where it was mind control, and then I kind of could buy it a little bit because it felt like if you're being brainwashed and stuff, okay, but then it went supernatural and goofy for my liking, so I lost a bit of connection with it. If you're going to go into the mind control idea, it could be anyone. In a weird way, it would work to be Nikki Cross, because then that way they could go back to being the tag team they were before. And going back to the last question, they could go for the tag team championships, and then they could put some credibility back on those belts. But I don't know what direction they're going to go. I don't know if it's going to be a person or not. One thing is for sure, I'm absolutely dreading each time they do this on Raw, because Alexa Bliss does the best with the material. Alexa is great with her character. There's no dig on Alexa Bliss, and I've always enjoyed her work in ring as well. I think she works a style in the ring. She's not someone that just flips and does things for the sake of it. She works moves to her character, and that's what I've always liked about Bliss, and you've seen that even more in the current role that she's in. But yeah, I currently, if there's one gimmick that needs to change on Raw drastically, it's this one, in my opinion.
Yeah, I'm just not really into it. These, they've did this with Aleister Black in the past. Maybe looks like they're doing it with him now. These sitting backstage and doing these long-winded promos, and it's like, get out there.
Yeah.
You're only going to pick a fight if you go to the ring. Like, you're not going to pick a fight from backstage. So, yeah, I think definitely next week, that's what we need to see from Alexa Bliss and Lily, actually calling someone out or laying an attack on somebody.
Absolutely, because it's getting to the point now. We're seeing the same promo for 4 weeks. We've ditched everything that's going on with the Fiend as well. It's a bit of a mess. I think that's the best way to put it, unfortunately. But we mentioned the idea earlier on of Paul White matches that he could have. Wrestling by Wardrobe just said that Michael Stunt to retire Paul White, book it. Sounds a lot of fun there. And Rated R for Wrestling has said that that's a headliner. So yeah, it looks like that seems to be the popular choice right now. One thing I'm not sure if it's popular or not, but we're going to talk about it, is Eva Marie. And they said that she's back over Mickie James. He's not a fan. Well, Alicia Stansbury, sorry, is not a fan of it. Are you a fan of Eva Marie being back? I know you discussed about this on your podcast and also posted about on Instagram.
Yeah, to be completely honest, I don't really have an opinion. I'm always a fan of a redemption story. Always a fan of seeing people in life in general just get a second chance. If people make mistakes and people don't do things correctly, and she's got back in. I think what they should have done is really sold this as her training. We see lots of vignettes of her wrestling and learning how to wrestle, because that was the big thing. She can't wrestle, and even for fans to shout that out in NXT at her, I thought it's below the belt. You see what I mean?
Yeah.
Like, you can not like someone, that's fine, but kind of judging their craft. Imagine someone turned up to work and was standing behind you, say, "Oh, you're not good at your job." Like, it's not really cool, is it?
No.
So I'm not really. I don't really have an opinion on her. We never really ever saw much of her the first time round anyway. But WWE love their socialites. They love their social media, people that have big numbers on social media that can push things for her. I think that's what she's in. That's pretty much why Lana's on TV, if we're completely honest with ourselves. So yeah, I think that's probably what she's been brought in. But it's going to be interesting to see what she could do. I don't buy into any of the stuff of Mickie James got released, the Iconics got released, and then Eva Marie came back. If you guys remember, Eva Marie was re-signed to the company some months ago, like quite a while ago, but she just hadn't shown up yet. So she wasn't the cause of these guys getting released. But good luck to her on this second run. Let's see what they make of it.
Absolutely. You took the words out of my mouth there on quite a few things there. She's been around since, I think, at least January this year. There was rumors she was going to be brought in around Legends Night, I believe, to make her comeback. Then it was the Royal Rumble. She was rumored heavily to be in. I think even I threw it as a prediction out there. She's been in the PC for months. So this has got nothing to do with the WWE releases. And like you said, she's so popular on social media. I think it was from It's Our House podcast actually suggesting on there, looking at her following, it's more popular than everyone on Twitter combined. So she's clearly got numbers, and the ratings weren't that bad of her this week. Look, I'm the same as you. I'm willing to give it a chance to see where it goes. I know this is a storyline, or should we say a character that's been Vince is desperate to get over. If anyone can get it over, though, I think Eva Marie is the right character to do so, because she did show promise. People were into the character. It's just the idea that people weren't necessarily into the matches, or not really seeing matches when she was on SmackDown before. Of course, the wardrobe malfunction as well has got over like 40 odd million, I think, of views on YouTube. So I mean, the thing is, it's all about. That's what they care about. So yeah, it's going to be interesting to see what it's going to be. But yeah, I'm with you, Mekz. Let's give it a chance here and see where it goes. Jonesy, back with us now. Who do you guys see being part of the Diamond Mine now that Tessa has apparently been ruled out? Mekz, I'd love your take on this, actually.
So I didn't see when this vignette aired last week. I don't know how I missed it, because I watch NXT diligently every week, but I didn't see it. But I saw it yesterday. I have no idea who is going to be part of this. From the vignette, it looks like some type of maybe MMA-based group or something like that, or person. I've looked through the recent signees and anything like that. not an idea at all. Maybe, we saw Arturo Ruas, the Brazilian guy that was on
Great
Raw
shout.
Underground and stuff as well. So maybe
Yeah.
he's some type of fixture within this, but I can't imagine him being, the main man or anything. But yeah, if it's an MMA based group, he's the only name that really comes to mind. Maybe Jessamine Duke as well, Marina Shafir, those kind of characters. But yeah, it'll be interesting to see because I haven't got a Scooby.
No, but there's some great shouts there, though, because I mean, when I did this last week, I wondered about Parker Bordeaux. Perhaps could be the one coming in.
Yeah.
They've recently signed, I believe it's Gable Stevenson, I believe his name is,
Yes,
and Rick Steiner's son as well. I thought maybe that could be a formidable force. But Arturo Ruas, I think it's a great shout. Riddick Moss as well, apparently part of NXT. They were part of Raw Underground, weren't they? So there is that shout. And I do think as well, you look with the new stable that Swerve Scott has got, there's a female in the group as well. So they're going with the multi-net. Maybe it could be a stable that's going to go against the heels because there's so many heel stables currently on NXT, not really a babyface one. So I think we could get in a babyface sort of stable here, perhaps a dominant MMA style stable. It could be interesting to see, but certainly it's going to be fun either way. But Mekz, I have to ask you, we're at the hour mark now. Are you good to do another 20 minutes or so?
Let's keep going. Let's keep going.
There is quite a few comments in. So like I say, everyone, do apologise for any delays when your comments come in, but they will get read out. And if there is anything missed, drop it in again and we will make sure it's done before the end anyway. But SC Williams here now. And what if Alexa Bliss is in love with Angel Garza to get revenge on Nia and Shayna for Alexa then to actually cross them to cost them the championships? And he thinks that Naomi will turn on Lana soon. These are some definitely some interesting ideas. Would you like to see any of them play out?
Alexa Bliss, and I don't want a love angle. I can't even lie to you. I don't want a love angle at all. But Naomi and Lana is a bit interesting. I'm not sure if you've seen the little backstage thing where Lana was kind of complaining, oh, we can't get a win and these guys keep cheating. And Naomi was saying to her, well, maybe we need to cheat as well. Maybe we're being too good, too clean, and maybe we need to, have some underhanded tactics as well to get the win. So yeah, WWE put that out themselves. Interesting to see where that could possibly go, but yeah, please, no more love angles and romance and stuff.
Just what WWE needs in the women's tag team division, another heel tag team. Everyone seems to have turned heel recently. So yeah, for me, I don't see that happening, but perhaps Naomi turning on Lana could be interesting, like you say, with what's happened there. And also, I mean, for me, I'm just happy Garza's on TV because I think Garza's a talent, and I wasn't sure I was happy about the Rose angle this week. That's not, I'm not going to lie, it's not really for my age demographic, I don't think. But hey, it is what it is. It's great to see him on TV nonetheless. Rated R of us now. Would Daniel Bryan's body be able to actually take the rust out of New Japan? I would be nervous to see him wrestle that style. I think that's a great point because obviously Daniel Bryan has been there. And of course, there has been some horrific career-ending injuries with the hard style in New Japan. But there certainly are some matches I would like to see if they were the right opponents. But you still think it would be good for him to go to New Japan?
I mean, Anthony's raised a brilliant point there. With the matches that we mentioned, some of the dream matches that could be, yes, that's why we want to see it. But in the last week, I actually read something, I think it was on Fightful, where Daniel Bryan had come out and said his neck is killing him.
Really? Wow.
Yeah. So, and I think that was just before the Roman match or just after. So, yeah, I'm nervous every time I see him do any kind of move which lands on the back of his head. So, yeah, maybe it's not the best, but you can put him with some, diligent workers that can look after him. So there's still a possibility. Yeah.
I think, like you said, it's the right match type. But when you say someone like Zack Sabre Jr. in there, for example, was a very good technical style wrestler, those sort of matches would suit Daniel Bryan down to the ground. But maybe Daniel Bryan just needs a break for 6 months and he comes in for Wrestle Kingdom next year or something, if it was to be that sort of style, maybe. Of course, Marco Stunt versus Paul White seems to be very popular in the comments, by the way. Jonesy's down for that match as well, just so everybody knows. And of course, then it goes on to say that, agree, it'll go over big time with the fans. Well, there's 5 of us now that want to see that match. So, I think we could get something trending if we're not careful. Noob & Co. Will WWE write Asuka off for TV come WrestleMania Backlash? I can see Charlotte beating Asuka at the end of the triple threat match to further the storyline between the two, with Asuka on SmackDown. What are your thoughts of this? Because there has been a few rumors about Asuka taking some time off. Could you see this going down?
Possibly. I hadn't seen any rumors, but if that's the case, then yeah, maybe giving Asuka that break as well. would make sense about this time, to be fair. You know, especially if they're going to bring in someone like Eva Marie, that just kind of gives a free spot within the women's singles division on Raw. Asuka was in and won Money in the Bank last year, so that could help her maybe skip out being involved in Money in the Bank as well. So yeah, when I think about it, that could make sense. Writing her off for a period, with maybe introducing some newer faces.
Yeah, potentially. I mean, that's the way to freshen things up, isn't it? Also, freshens Oscar up as well, if that's the direction they were to go to. And it does feel like they will go Charlotte and Oscar somewhere one more time down the line, perhaps maybe one time before the next draft, maybe. So maybe SummerSlam could be the right place for it. So let's see what happens. It could be interesting if that was to go down that avenue, because I think Charlotte and Rhea, that seems to be under the surface, kind of brewing to the top. But again, it's heel versus heel. I'm not quite sure what WWE's plans and intentions are right now. But hey, I don't think anyone does. Probably not even them.
Yeah.
So yeah. Jonesy, Daniel Bryan will resign with WWE. Can't see him want to do a heavy schedule, and do we believe Ring of Honor could afford him, as his wages would be huge? Well, I mean, if it's on a part-time basis and like a match-by-match basis, I think Ring of Honor would go for it, because they do have money. They re-signed a lot of their talent over the pandemic, even people like their top talents like Jonathan Gresham, Jay Lethal. They re-signed deals with the company. So many talents did. EC3 signed with the company also. I know we're talking a different level with Daniel Bryan, but if it's a one-off match here or there for a big money pay-per-view that they've got, I think they would go for it. Would you agree?
Yeah, it's definitely got to be one-off matches, pay-per-view matches as well, so they know they're gonna get, you know, people, maybe by then people in attendance. They're gonna get pay-per-view buys as well. Yeah, I think that's the same for AEW. I don't see Daniel Bryan committing to anyone per se, unless, you know, it is a tournament thing, like maybe the G1 over in Japan. That's the only kind of thing I can see him committing to on some type of short to long term basis. Everything else should just be part time.
Yeah, I agree with you wholeheartedly. And Jonesy just going to say in another comment as well that he reckons it likely that Daniel Bryan could join the creative team. I think that could happen. He seems to have already been doing that, really, it feels, with a lot of the directions. So I could see that being kind of happening as well. I don't see him completely ditching everyone on SmackDown. Poor Cesaro just finally getting himself into that position thanks to Daniel Bryan, and it gets quickly ripped away from him. So
And
yeah, fingers crossed.
His advocates walked out the door.
Absolutely. I would, even I'd have to leave the section. I've tried very hard for him over recent months, haven't I, on other streams. So sorry, Rated R, if you're watching. Yeah, anyway, we'll go to our next comment. It's sad about the Hurt Business breaking up. What do you think is going to happen to Shelton Benjamin and Cedric Alexander? Want to go back to Gold gimmick, and Cedric needs to be repackaged. Maybe get a manager. Well, it looks like they're going to be feuding anyway for the next couple of weeks for sure. I'm worried mostly that means after that they both go to main event. But I think if any of them goes on to have a run after this, it would be Cedric. But what are your thoughts, Mekz, on this?
Yeah, I mean, you said you think they'll be feuding. I think they're just going to have one match. I think on Raw on Monday, we'll probably get a throwaway match between Cedric and Shelton. I mean, if they give them a good time, like 15 minutes, these two will put on a banger of a match. But I think it's just a one and done, and then they both head back to catering, unfortunately.
That would be a shocker for Raw. Just one and no rematch. That would be a first, wouldn't it? But no, seriously though, I think you could be right. They both could be going to catering. I would like to see Cedric get a push. I would like to see Shelton do well as well. They're both terrific talents. I don't know why they've been split up as a team. Raw finally gets a tag team division. I think, no, too many. Let's break one up. It's just what they do, isn't it? Unfortunately, but yeah, the Hurt Business breaking up was awful, and you probably have to go a few videos down. But I did a video based on being the Hurt Business breaking up being a mistake. Still recommend to go and check the video. It's probably one of my favorite videos I made in the WrestleMania season. So if you get an opportunity, do go and check that one out. Martin Carrera, Lance Archer has been saving Darby and Sting a lot from the attacks of Paige and Sky. Is this a swerve? Interesting, Mekz.
I really think they've botched Lance Archer. Even just before Revolution, he was picking up steam again and was in a lot of main events and stuff like that. Didn't win the Face of Revolution TNT ladder match or whatever it was. And since then, he's come out and he's been angry and bitter to Sting. And it's like, what are we doing? We've got a big man, which you guys don't really have many big men on your show, full stop. And he's a great talent as well. And he's got Jake the Snake with him. And I just don't understand what's going on. clearly seems to still be a face, but he's
Mm.
angry with Sting. Maybe he does turn on Sting. Maybe it's him that's gonna kill Darby rather than Miro or
Yeah.
someone. Who knows? But yeah, just do better with Lance Archer. He deserves better than what he's been getting.
He absolutely does. And I think the thing is they pushed too hard too soon when it comes to that TNT Championship last year, and then that took the momentum away. Then I think it was that Battle Royale situation, which he'd won at the next pay-per-view that was kind of botched. And yeah, every other time he seems to get so far up the card, they muck it up with Archer. I don't know what it is, because you really thought when he came in, I thought he was going to be like a main event player, someone that was going to take the championship from Moxley even. But it wasn't be the case. It'll be interesting to see how they do going forward. And like you say, Archer does deserve better. And Paige and Sky, that don't make sense to me either. I'm sorry for any AEW fans watching. If you are watching AEW regularly and you can see the sense of it, please let me know in the comments below. And probably in about 10 minutes or so, we'll actually get to it. But it's probably about a 10-minute wait now to get to some of these comments. So I do apologise once again. But we've got Ricky Glow with us now. And what if down the road Heyman was to turn on Roman to help Seth beat him, because Seth and Heyman is always on talking smack and talking with each other, and he wants to see Josh Alexander face, let's see, Doug Williams. He said this on his Twitter. Interesting there with Josh Alexander and Doug Williams. I'd be up for seeing that match. But Heyman turning on Roman, would it be too soon in your opinion?
Yeah, I don't think Heyman can turn with anybody else than Brock Lesnar. Like, if we're gonna get a Heyman turn, it has got to be Brock Lesnar realigning himself as the advocate of the beast, and then we get, for some who maybe don't care, another Brock and Roman match. I would love to see it, especially with this iteration of Roman's character, with the dynamic kindly changing, where Brock is the big kind of face returning, maybe to unseat Roman from the throne. Roman's the big heel. That's the only time I think Heyman's turning. He ain't turning for Seth, I don't think.
No, I don't seem to turn for Seth. I actually don't want him to turn for Lesnar either. I want him to just to be the reason that Lesnar comes back. Almost like, you left me to the side. You didn't renegotiate my contract. What was with you? Like, you left me just to sit at home. Look, don't get me wrong, I like being at home, but I've come back now because I see what you're doing. You've turned on me. You're with this guy. I'm better than him. I've beaten before. I beat him at WrestleMania 34. I want to take the championship. I think that would be a great way to go and book it personally.
That would be the story right there.
That's how I'd like to see it, but we'll have to see how it will go down. But yeah, Heyman turning on, we'll have to see how it will go down. But the only thing I'd just say is, we mentioned Lesnar. One day, Lesnar Lashley needs to happen. Really does.
Yes.
DWE, if you had to book a WWE UK Super Card show, what matches would you have? Drew versus Walter, Last Man Standing, Balor versus Sheamus, British Strong Style, and of course the Grizzled Young Veterans and Rampage Brown as well. So lots of different styles there WWE has got there. Do you watch much of NXT UK?
Yes, not when it's on. In a couple of days later. Great show. I think what's kind of not clicking right now is obviously there's no fans there, which doesn't help with the atmosphere and stuff. But probably in terms of pure wrestling, probably one of the best shows we get consistently every week. But yeah, Walter, I mean, DWE's basically booked the card here already. You got to put Pete Dunne on the card, of course. I've got a lot of love for Danny Burch, so I'd love to see him on the card as well. But I mean, all the heavy hitters, get Devlin on there as well. That could be a terrific card. That'd be really fun.
That would be, I mean, maybe Pete Dunne against Jordan Devlin would be a great match to watch. I know they've been doing a lot of A-Kid and Tyler Bate right now, but maybe Tyler Bate should be, maybe Mustache Mountain against the Grizzled Young Veterans would be quite fun. 2 out of 3 falls.
Tyler Bate needs to be in NXT already.
He does.
Like,
he does.
Mainstream NXT. The guy is too good, man. Pull the trigger. Level. Come on.
He's different level. He really is. It would be great for the cruiserweight division right now. I think that would be a great spot for him. One other match I just want to say, so I never give a shout out to this superstar, and I think she's fantastic, and definitely one for the future. Aoife Valkyrie. I think she's amazing.
Okay. I was going to say Kaylee Ray.
Well, I think Kaylee Ray is amazing as well, but I think she's so established, and a lot of the community already want to see her go to the next level. But I think Valkyrie should be the one to dethrone her. So that's what I would do on this super card. That would allow Kaylee Ray to go to the next level. And Valkyrie, she seems so young, so fresh to this. So I think for NXT UK, she would be great to carry the mantelpiece going forward, and maybe go for Sakamura again. I watched that match thanks to Wrestling by Wardrobe. Said we must go and check that one out. So I did. Fantastic match between them two. Absolutely loved it. Eric Travis. Let's see what we've got here. Do you think that Impact needs a mid-card belt, or the X Division is better for Josh Alexander to elevate him and more wrestlers? And I want to see something for Impact. AR Fox, wow, yeah, he's a great talent. Of course, I'm more familiar with him from Lucha Underground than seeing him from Evolve. But yeah, he was, I think it was Dante Fox when he was in Lucha Underground, was fantastic. And yeah, do you feel that the X Division is a strong enough mid-card championship, or would you like to see another belt introduced?
I think it's good. I think it's good enough. I think, you know, the mid-card championship is as important as the bookers make it feel, you know. So if they put a big name with that championship, all of a sudden it may feel akin to the world title or just under it. So yeah, these aren't maybe heavy hitter names that currently are winning the championship, but it's what Impact have, it's what they're working with. So I think it's enough sort of thing.
Absolutely, indeed. Just to say, everyone, I think we'll go probably about another 15 to 20 tops, if Mekz, if that's okay with you. So we'll take all the questions we can in that time, because there's still quite a few on there. But I'll probably I'll give you a 5-minute warning. If you've got a question, get it in by the time it hits the 120 on the clocker, and then we'll get it in, because there's still quite a lot here, and I want to make sure we can get everyone in as possible. I don't want to leave any questions out. But what do we think of the new Roman Reigns theme? It sounds a bit like Dr. Dre made a beat from Eminem. Cry Me a River by Justin Timberlake. Speaker themes. Yeah, what's your favorite act in NXT as well? So yeah, we've got a lot of questions there. But what's your thoughts of Roman's new theme? I personally loved it.
Yeah, loved it. Like, honestly, it brings the arrogance of his character out. It also brings the calmness of it out, because obviously he's not going around shouting and all this kind of stuff. He's very calm with how he speaks, his whole demeanor. And if you listen very closely, there was a bit of the old like Hunter Hearst Helmsley theme in there.
Oh, right, okay.
There's definitely like a rift in there where you hear a bit of the old Hunter Hearst Helmsley theme. But yeah, I thought it was good. I think maybe one critique I've heard some people say is it needs lyrics, which is something that probably could be added somewhere down the line. Let's kind of enjoy it for what it is for now. This is probably one of the only new themes that whoever this new person or company is that are making them has kind of stuck, and the fans have actually liked. Obviously, we kicked up a lot of fuss around Keith Lee's and other people's that has changed. Even Seth Rollins has had a slight change. I don't know if you've heard it in recent weeks. Yeah, so we've complained a lot, so I'll give this guy his props that this one worked out. Absolutely,
I agree with that wholeheartedly. And your favorite act from NXT?
My favorite act in NXT right now, it's got to be Legado del Fantasma. I love Santos Escobar. Yeah, he's just brilliant. Shotzi Blackheart, she was doing a lot for me as well. She reminds me of just a Jeff Hardy, just a reckless abandonment. Like, I need to do anything to win this match. Like, the two absolute rising stars. I think they've got very big plans for Santos Escobar away from the cruiserweight division entirely.
Yeah, I can see him being pushed in North American, even NXT Championship picture. I think it was a test of the water with Cross earlier this year. I would say Cross is definitely one for me, but my favorite has to be The Way. The comedic timing of how they do a lot of their stuff is just genius. And who would have thought that Austin Theory, after being so lost in the shuffle and probably a lot of criticism he was getting this time last year, how funny he is with his lines he's given. Like, he's just so good at playing the meathead that's got no brain whatsoever, being almost like a child as well, a part of this faction. And Indy Hartwell as well, in the same way. They're both like children. Indy Hartwell, I mean, this time last year was doing enhancement work for Monday Night Raw and occasionally NXT. She has become so more relevant in the last 12 months, and kudos, because some of the spots she did last night as well, I mean, she just needs an applause really, because she's been amazing. So it's so great to see them as tag team champions. Really happy to see it.
They've stuck her next to probably the best female wrestler in WWE, in NXT. So, you know, of course she's going to learn. And, you know, especially like you said, it's the character stuff that's come on so much. Without the character, we don't care, no matter how good she is in the ring. That's how
Yeah.
wrestling goes, unfortunately. And the character for her and Austin Theory is just come leaps and bounds. And yeah, they're going to be big talents. We know that already.
Absolutely, indeed. Couldn't agree with that more. Rated R has said that he feels that Brian Cage is better suited for WWE than AEW. I personally agree. I think particularly NXT. Would you agree?
I think somewhere on the WWE banner. I'm not NXT. It could work. It could work. Obviously, we've seen the occasional big guy pass through. We've got Karrion Kross right now. We've had Drew McIntyre in the past, but definitely this is someone that, you know, if Vince looked at, he'd fall in love with. And yeah, definitely, I think he would get away with a lot more of how his character is on WWE than AEW.
Yeah, I completely agree with that wholeheartedly. And we mentioned there about Candice and Indy. Of course, now the new Women's Tag Team Champions. Who do you want to see them face for the belts now? What was interesting, that, isn't it? Because obviously you can't just do a rematch. And I think Ember and Shotzi actually are going to go back to singles action, it feels. The Frankie Monet stuff looks to be heavily directed at Ember Moon, I feel, in the last couple of weeks. So I can see them going singles, coming back to tag. But I also think that maybe Casey Catanzaro and Kaden Carter might get a push. I don't know. What do you feel?
Yeah, I think Catanzaro and Carter are up next. And yeah, it's a nice little division. I think anyone after that are probably going to be a lot of meshed together singles women that they're going to try and make into tag teams and stuff like that. But yeah, that's probably who is next on the horizon.
Absolutely. I wouldn't mind seeing Zoe Stark in her team at some stage because I think she's got a great potential. And I think maybe the tag team division, I think it's too soon to go for the NXT championship, but I think definitely in some form of tag team role would be quite nice. And I mean, there's still to cut with kind of Raquel Gonzalez if Raquel ever loses the belt, but I don't see it happening anytime soon. I think Mercedes Martinez is getting eaten alive next week, I think, by Raquel. I think she's holding the belt for a while. But interestingly, I will just say before we go to the next question, at WWE today, I went to just have a look. Sometimes I look to see the refreshed graphics on the Superstars website. Raquel isn't holding the NXT Women's Championship on that graphic anymore. Wasn't earlier on today. So I wonder if that's a sign for next week.
Was she holding it before, like last week? Or anything?
She was holding it before last week. They put one on because some of them have been delayed since WrestleMania, but today they went with an old one that they had before she became champion. I don't know if they're going to redo it and have what they think maybe a more, I don't say a better picture, but maybe a different pose if you want. But for today, that she at one point didn't hold the championship, and I wish I took a screenshot of it and put it on Twitter because they've probably changed it by now and they're making me look like a fool by saying it. But hey, it is what it is. Rated R.
Get those exclusives right here. SCW.
Absolutely. This is you know, I've got a lot of time. But Rated R with us. He thinks that Roman's is fitting his character perfectly. We agree. And also Jonesy says that Roman's keeping WWE alive on his own. Move him to Raw. He is the man who can save that show. Facts. I mean, could he save Raw?
I have no interest in him saving Raw. Keep him on SmackDown and keep SmackDown the good show that it is right now. I don't need Roman to go on a one-man mission because outside of Roman, you know, that's 20 minutes in a 3-hour show. You know, he can't save the other 2 hours, 40 minutes. So yeah, keep him exactly where he is. He's doing so well. I can't wait till Jimmy gets added back with Jay, and you know, they can kind of lay an assault on the tag team division. Maybe those guys can have all the belts in that sense. Yeah, man, keep Roman where he is. Forget Raw altogether.
Yeah, I kind of feel the same. There has been some agreements with Jones in there, but although I agree that Roman would definitely make Raw more relevant, I'm loving the work on SmackDown. If it's not broke, don't fix it. But Rated R does go to say that it would be interesting to see, and he said he'd rather 3 hours of Roman promos than 3 hours of media matches and mediocrity. I 100% agree with that, definitely. And yeah, facts said indeed there. Martin Carrillo, who would you put as mainstays on each W brand, NXT, Raw, and SmackDown? So who would you have as the mainstays? Who would you never move in the draft? I guess Roman Reigns is one of them for SmackDown.
Yeah, I think I keep Roman and Sasha on SmackDown, to be completely honest. Raw, Drew, you can leave that as Drew's show. I'll probably send Seth Rollins back over there. Because I just think it works better. They've got a lot of time to film. Give Seth Rollins those kind of gauntlet match performances every week. He'll take it. NXT, you've got your Johnny Garganas. Finn Balor, I do want to see him back on the main roster, but I'm not sure where he turns up. And you know, I want him to be right at the top of the card. So maybe that's a better position for him on Raw. rather than Roman's reign right now on SmackDown. But yeah.
It will be interesting to see how it's going to play along, won't it? But yeah, I think there's some interesting ideas there. But I mean, yeah, I agree with Roman and Sasha on SmackDown. I actually want Drew to go to SmackDown on the next draft currently, just purely because I want them to have that match at WrestleMania next year.
Yeah,
But
that would be
but for Raw mainstays, goodness, it's hard to say really.
you don't
Adam
want to punish
Pearce.
anybody.
No, exactly. who do you have as the mainstay? Sonya Deville, why not? Because I want her as Raw GM. I'd like them to go to the full GMs and go full out gang warfare, Raw and SmackDown again. But yeah, I mean, Alexa Bliss, it could be her show, but just put her back as the goddess. And yeah, I don't know. There's a lot of things fixing with Raw, but NXT, the mainstay for there. Interesting with that one. I guess Gargano and Ciampa will be there forever, so I guess they will be my answer for that one. We've got Alex Radford here, and literally, I'll try and get for as many comments as we can, but we'll go for just another few more minutes. I know that I'm going left field with the Fiend, but what if the Taker is the Dark Father for Alistair? And it could be Bray with the new gimmick, possibly a stable on SmackDown. Swerve versus, and did I like Swerve versus Leon? We loved Swerve versus Leon, didn't we? We've already said that in the video already. And that would be a massive swerve, but unfortunately, I don't see it happening.
Nah, just keep them apart. Alistair and Bray probably had chance to do it. Just don't do it now. Leave it.
No, absolutely. And I said that I was a big fan of Swerve's new stable. What were your thoughts of it?
Yeah, I liked it. I thought it was, interesting way to debut these guys who we thought they were just his friends he used to make music with, and all of a sudden they're laying attacks, helping him win his match. AJ Francis, Asante D Adonis, which we have seen in ring competition before, and then Brianna Brandy, who again I've heard a lot of good stuff about her in terms of just training and stuff in the performance center. So yeah. It's a good spot for them to slowly be introduced, and maybe they've got big plans for Swerve in kind of giving him this faction.
Yeah, that's what I hope is really the mainstay for this, because I think Swerve is a great talent. I think he's got a lot to offer. This is great bringing new people in as well. I know that Adonis has been on 205 Live a lot recently. This AJ Francis looks like a beast as well. And I think, is it Bianca Brandy? I think is her name.
Brianna Brandy.
Brianna Brandy, sorry. I only first time looking up on Instagram today to try and do a bit of research coming on here, but she looks like perhaps, as a quartet, this looks like it could be fun, exciting, fresh, something NXT needs, and I like the idea of the multi-gender stable as well. I like that. So yeah, I think it could be good things going forward. Martin Carrera, why do fans rant so much about a wrestling company or doesn't do things their way? In my opinion, majority of wrestling marks overreact and create negativity into wrestling. You're pretty much summing up Twitter, really, pretty much there, aren't you? That's pretty much perfectly. Do you find that a negativity can affect sometimes your enjoyment of the product mix?
Yeah, I mean, what I find difficult are people that say, like, they like both WWE and AEW or whatever the case is, but they clearly like one over the other, and they're clearly slandering one over the other. Like, if you don't, and me, like, there's a lot of negative. We watch everything because of what we are trying to do here as journalists and stuff. Like, there's a lot I could rip apart every week, but I try to just be positive. What did I enjoy? And okay, I didn't think this worked, and maybe this is my idea of what could be the fix for it. Like, all the negativity is too much. So yeah, that is a very Twitter centric comment that Martin's put there. But yeah, I think everyone just needs to enjoy what they can, and these guys are putting their body on the line for us at the end of the day for our entertainment. So be grateful sometimes.
Absolutely, and I'm sure Martin would agree with that as well. And yeah, I think that it's finding the good. Yes, there's bad in shows. Yes, I mean, openly we'll make jokes here and there about some of the things that we don't like about wrestling. Like you said, we could rip into a lot, but there is a lot of things you can take out from enjoyment. Like you say, we're very spoiled. Really, we're in a global pandemic that's been going on for the last 12 months. Things have been on the stop, and just have a brief moment to say, Mekz, I know that you're a big fan of the Premier League, like I am. We had a 3-month break from it where the pandemic we couldn't watch it. it wasn't there for us. And then it came back. There are other things like, you know, theatre and all sorts of stuff that people can't do at the moment. And a lot of people can't work. And we're lucky. We've got professional wrestling each and every week. And people like yourself, me and you, we can talk about it on these channels. And that's fantastic. We've got that. So yeah, hopefully Twitter can learn to enjoy some things a bit better. If any of them are watching right now, yeah, it doesn't hurt to enjoy the product as well. And yeah, there are good things everywhere. And is Lily Sister Abigail? That's an interesting question.
They just need to put this Sister Abigail stuff to rest, man. Like, yeah, I think, like we said, let's just see what Lily and Alexa Bliss do this week on Monday Night Raw. This is my last chance for them. If we're back in the playground again, I'm probably just gonna watch the section, you know, the segment passively and not care what they have to say.
I feel the same. Can't disagree with that one bit. Alyssa Stanbury can't get into AJ Styles. Interesting. He's one of my favorite wrestlers. In fact, he's my current favorite wrestler of the current generation. Mekz.
Yeah, AJ Styles is up there for me, like literally top 5. He's clearly winding down his career. You know, he doesn't want to overdo it, doesn't want to get injured before he calls it quits. I think he said on record that within the next 5 years, you know, he's done, sort of thing. So yeah, Alyssa, if you want to kind of see AJ Styles in his prime, go to TNA stuff, go and watch the New Japan stuff. That's where you can really see AJ and how he's shone. But right now, it's all about the big paycheck so he can look after his family for the rest of his days. And yeah, you know, he's still going to give us an excellent match here and there. Unfortunately, it may just have to be at pay-per-views rather than every week on Raw.
You summed that up perfectly. I don't think I can add too much more to that. I would say if you wanted to go from WWE stuff, his rivalry with John Cena back in 2016 and the Royal Rumble match at 2017 would be one I'd highly recommend. And any match with Daniel Bryan, as he seems to be the man of the moment as well. So yeah, that would be my shouts to go from a WWE side. But yeah, old TNA stuff, particularly Unbreakable 2005, that triple threat match that went for an hour. It sounds like, God, I've got to sit an hour and watch this match, but you're telling me it's good. It's worth it. I promise you. Alex Radford says that a couple of ideas here. Dan Lambert and Dustin Poirier, I hope I've said that right, joining the Diamond Mine. That would be sick. I must admit, I'm not familiar with either of those two. Mekz, are you?
No. Are these maybe NXT new recruits or something? I'm not sure.
No.
But yeah, it's going to be interesting to see who turns up in Diamond Mine because, yeah, that's all we can do at this point, kind of throw names out. We've just been given generic MMA vignettes, so it's going to be interesting when these guys really turn up.
We'll take who it is, and if it ends up being those two names and end up being awesome, yeah, we'll be marking out. Don't worry about that. Jonesy interesting. They dropped the Hurt Business, then rebuild a similar stable on NXT this week. Hope these guys fare better. I mean, would you have comparisons to this new Swerve Scott stable to the Hurt Business? Could it have that kind of vibe?
I don't think so. I don't think there's any real similarities. The Hurt Business were established guys, apart from maybe Cedric. You know, these were established guys that weren't kind of getting their just desserts, so you know, MVP kind of forced things to happen for them, where these guys just seem to be initially friends that are just hanging out making music. They've obviously come to Swerve's rescue tonight, but Swerve has probably got the biggest position to play within this group in terms of really helping these lot navigate as wrestlers. You know, Brianna hasn't stepped in the ring yet, so we don't know what she's really got. Adonis, he's been wrestling, and AJ Francis, he signed in January, I think, but we haven't seen him wrestle. I don't know his background to know if he was wrestling before he's been signed. So yeah, Swerve has been given a level of responsibility here. It's going to be a bit different. He's not going to go after the world title immediately. No. Maybe cruiserweight title, maybe North American. So yeah, the dynamic's a bit different, but like Jonesy is saying, and I'm pretty sure they won't, because this is NXT, they won't split them up after flipping 5 weeks or something like that. So yeah.
No. Yeah, I hope they're giving a good run, and hopefully there's some good potential there. There certainly seems some differences with the music and the style there. So yeah, I like where the gimmick potentially could be going. It could be fun to see. We'll take just a few more questions now. Mekz, can you do another 5 minutes or so?
Yeah,
is that
no
okay?
problem.
And we will literally knock it off after that, because we unfortunately they just carry on. They keep coming, these questions. But who would have thought that Samoa Joe, CM Punk, and Daniel Bryan, all free agents? What a time to be a wrestling fan! Slammiversary, wouldn't that be fun?
Oh That's crazy. We can only dream.
We can only dream. AEW, I'm sure, will be licking their lips as well. But Karrion Kross against Johnny Gargano is a money feud. I thought it was quite a fun dynamic with those this week. I thought it was interesting. Do you enjoy it?
Yeah. I mean, obviously, Johnny Gargano's in the midst of a feud with Bronson Reed. So I know he came over primarily to back Austin Theory, who has a match with Karrion Kross next week. But it's like he did do a bit too much of a beatdown on Karrion Kross. It's like, do you want it? And I was waiting for him to have a little glare over at the NXT Championship as well. So yeah, it's kind of funny how he's kind of getting involved in another storyline when he hasn't finished the previous one, sort of thing. But I trust NXT to actually sort this out rather than if this was main roster.
Yeah, that's pretty much it. Yeah, we'll have to see how it's going to play out. And yeah, I mean, Johnny got probably a bit too much offense in my opinion as well. But I think it could be a fun feud if they were to do it at some point down the line. But the heel versus heel dynamic is certainly something I'm not always a massive fan of. But Newman Cole, what's the most successful woman in WWE overall, Charlotte Flair or Asuka? I've got to go Charlotte Flair. I know Noob's a big Asuka fan, but I have to go Charlotte on this one.
Yeah, in terms of just if we're just going to look at championship wins, it's definitely definitely Charlotte Flair. Charlotte Flair's got about 13, 14 championship wins across the whole of NXT, Raw, SmackDown. Maybe compared to Asuka's 4, 5, maybe. Although Asuka obviously had that terrific run in NXT. Asuka deserves a lot better, but people don't like how Charlotte Flair's pushed this, that, and the other. But you cannot deny Charlotte Flair is excellent. Like, she is just brilliant TV, brilliant in ring, and it's clear to see why they rely on her so much.
Absolutely. Yeah, 100% agree with that. Jonesy just said, by the way, that Dustin Poirier is from the UFC. So that would explain why I don't really follow UFC. So that would probably be the reason I wouldn't know that. But I only follow the real biggest matches. And usually it was like Conor McGregor and when Punk was around, usually. So it was those sort of ones I was there for. So Martin Carrillo has said there, and this is one of our last questions for us now, which former WWE superstars got released over the last 7 years will eventually head back to WWE and they will succeed better than before their release? Someone like a Drew McIntyre. Mekz, do you see anyone that could have that potential?
If she isn't too bitter, which I don't think she is at all. I'm just saying, people get released and a lot of people will be in their ear and stuff like that. I think Chelsea Green was probably one of the biggest mistakes in terms of releasing. And I think she thinks, from interviews I've heard of her recently, she thinks she has unfinished business at WWE, and she's pretty much said that she's looking forward to a future where she can go around, make her name up again on the indies and stuff like that, and maybe one day, if the time is right, head back to WWE. So yeah, I was gutted when I saw her name on that list because I know how good she is in terms of an entertaining character more than anything. So yeah, I definitely think she's someone that would have aspirations to head back to WWE and kind of redeem herself.
I think that's a fantastic shout. But I don't want to carbon copy you, if you don't mind, because I think it's great, but I want to give a different answer. So I'm going to say Peyton Royce. For the exact same reasons. I mean, you saw that promo she had on Raw Talk before she was let go from the company. Clearly, there's going to be some desire from her to get back to WWE one day and to prove people wrong. And yeah, I think that she could be potentially the one. Of course, perhaps not a Drew McIntyre level, maybe, but certainly it's something close to it, I do believe. But that's all the questions we are going to cover here today. So thank to everyone that's been involved, and there's been so many questions. The stream's actually gone about half an hour longer than we planned. So you've kept us here, you've kept us busy, and thank you all so much. We're just going with a couple of comments just to finish. Josie's saying, great video, and thanks for answering all my questions. It's truly been fantastic to hear both of your views. Well, Josie, thank you for your questions. We've really enjoyed it as well, and it's been great to have you a part of this. And Martin Carrillo has also said, thanks for his asking questions. Completely agree with wrestling opinions. We'll definitely check out WrestleManiac's channel and let's watch some blood and guts. And I think that's definitely the case. I think we need to go and check out. And yeah, it's been awesome to see. Jeff saying thanks SCW Maniac. It's been a good show, and we really do appreciate that. So yeah, that's pretty much it, ladies and gents. Thank you all for watching anyway, and have yourselves a great evening. You've been watching SCW. If you're first time watching, then please subscribe subscribe to the channel as well. Make sure you go check out Meksz's channel as well. I should say also that I've got the actual link to the channel in the description of the video. So you just go into the description, click on the link, you're straight on his channel. You can check out a video now if you want. Probably a good idea to go and do so, and then get you even more hyped up for Blood and Guts. But that's all from me anyway. That's all from Mekz. Mekz, thank you for being on. Hope you've enjoyed being on the video.
It's been brilliant. Thanks for everyone that's been involved and giving us all the questions. And you know, I'm gonna go upstairs, and my missus is gonna give me an earful, but it's been worth it. I've loved it. Thanks for having me, Steve, as well. Been really enjoyed it this evening.
Oh, well, I can say thank you for coming on, and send an apology from my end if anything comes. All right, just put the last 30 seconds of video on of me apologising. Hopefully that will get you out of the woods. But no, thank you for watching anyway. Everyone, have yourselves a great one. And this has been Mekz and me, Steve, here on SCW Live. Thank you for watching, and we'll see you all next time. Take care. Enjoy yourselves.